Alright, Narc, talking about Ashes of Creation, open world PvP done right, but obviously we don't know anything because Ashes is not out yet, we don't know how it's gonna work. But before we go into the video, we always go through the content to see what people are saying. Well then, let's start with Ashes. Yes, Sebastian, you're right. Okay, I'd love to see something like Silk Road on the high seas. Yes, Silk Road was kind of sick. Where you could hire an NPC faction to escort you through the... this is pretty much what they're doing, no? They could attack anyone or anything that gets too close while en route. PvPers would get to fight the escorts, and PvE monsters, PvEers, I guess, would have a choice to stay and fight or leave their escort behind. Oh, okay. I think a cool mechanic would be if special mob, whale, shark, kraken or something spawns once a day in random ocean locations. By killing it, you get a really rare material, some other useful items. I would love to see a Dwarven Dreadnought ship. I hope races influence their ship design. Would be awesome if players without no citizenship could establish cooperative freehold on a remote island, like pirates basically. I've never been a PvPer, but damn, the open PvP in the ocean really got me excited. I think risk reward is very, very important to an MMO to keep the economy in good shape. Look at what happened to New World. They had no risk to do anything, so what you have to repair your armor, it is pretty cheap to repair your armor. If you die, no zones that risk your loot. The biggest risk in New World was the travel time that you're wasting to after you die. There's also a sense of excitement when traveling an area you can be attacked, and in these areas there should be higher tier loot. I don't agree with this at all, because usually you're attacked by being outnumbered. Like, you're always at a disadvantage when you are attacked. So it's like it kind of forces you to just like walk around in a group. Having good range vision and a balanced customization of the boat are a good way to give a fair chance to everyone willing to go to on the sea, because as it now lots of players are not confident going to on the sea with open PvP. If there's gonna be important resources, okay, everyone's talking about like world PvP with ships, so I guess that's what the video is about. Let's see.
Land ho! Oh yes, there will be land on the horizon.
I am just happy he's finally not in his underwear. I don't know what it is, I just don't like seeing men in underwear, especially grown-ass men. Take it back. Any man in underwear, man, boy, whatever, I don't want to see them in underwear, okay? I want to see them full-blown pants.
Horizon, plenty of booty, I can feel it. Well, it looks like civil...
God damn it, bro. I just said I don't want to see him in underwear.
So, what do we do? Well, what do you mean? Do what you want, because a pirate be free. You are a pirate.
You're our favorite being a pirate is a rarity. Do what you want, cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate. You are a pirate. We got us a map.
I'm surprised they didn't put the SpongeBob SquarePants song instead.
Lead us to a hidden box that's all locked up with locks and buried deep away. We'll dig up the box.
He loves his green screen way too much. I mean, I can't blame him. I would love a green screen too. I just can't have it here. But like, he's loving it way too much.
We know it's full of precious booty. Bust open the locks, and then we'll say hooray! Weigh anchor! Our favorite being a pirate is horrific.
Oh no!
Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free.
Wait, is that him or is that the different guy in underwear now? No, that is him. That's him. Okay. Just has a wig or something. Yeah, just a wig.
You are a
Yeah, that doesn't work, but fuck it, whatever.
pirate. Hey, what up, boys? So this month's livestream came with an incredible reveal that made me jump off my chair and praise the mighty Intrepid, for they have once again done something that no other MMO has done before. Do you like the idea of freedom? Do you like the idea of risk versus reward? Are you an absolute degenerate who needs to make themselves feel better by killing pixels in an online game?
Up till that point with the pixels, I was like, he's describing the United States, right? What it's supposed to be? But now it's like Ashes.
Well, you're in luck, because Ashes of Creation's oceans are the place for you. But before we get into
Are
that,
they?
our patrons and I would love for you to grab your
Respect,
cell phone.
but Coca-Cola. Bro, is that an actual thing though? It's not an actual thing, is it? Dude, it's not an actual thing. Where does he get it? What is that? Oh my lord.
Cola, because living the life of a full-time pirate has always been a dream of mine within an MMORPG, and although there have been a couple of decent attempts, ultimately the fundamental mechanics of those games in the past never allowed for that kind of playstyle to be a thing as a full-time playstyle. However, with the Seas of Vera boasting an open PvP zone, as they should do in my opinion,
Is that pirate game not considered MMORPG? What's that pirate game called? No. Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves. What is that? Isn't that an MMORPG technically? Yeah. Blah blah blah. Does it not say adventure, open world, multiplayer, pirates? I mean, technically it's an RPG because you are a pirate, so you roleplay as a pirate. It's multiplayer, it's open world. Technically, Sea of Thieves is an MMORPG. Technically, right? But I mean, based on the description, I haven't played. I don't know how it works with facing other people.
It allows us as players to truly live that pirate life, but also helps combat some toxic PvP. And I'm excited to discuss this with you all today. Now, with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we?
Pirate life.
So we're obviously going to start this video with baseless speculation and talking out of my arse because that's what you clicked on the video for, right? An ocean that is a free PvP zone. My arse because that's what you clicked on the video for, right? An ocean that...
This is a sick mount. I would prefer it as a pet, to be honest, like a combat pet. But this is a sick map.
Is a free PvP zone is, in my
I
opinion...
can see like some really cool skins that go with it. Very black, very flamey, but yeah.
How an ocean should be. However, in order for this to work, there are a few important mechanics that need to be functional, otherwise the whole thing is pointless. Both Black Desert Online and Arcade failed in these aspects, and I hope Steven and the team are looking to focus on these issues. Otherwise, I fear the ocean is doomed before it even begins. First, and arguably most important, is draw distance for other entities on the oceans. This is most prevalent in Arcade, as ships and mobs have an awfully immersion-breaking pop-in that completely voids the whole point of ocean gameplay.
Oh, like you just can't see them from a high distance, only like when they're too close. Yeah, that's definitely a problem. I want to be able to see a ship miles away. Like, so fucking far away. Like, if you ever played WoW during Legion, and you were in high mountain, and you put max camera distance... sorry, it's not camera distance, it's basically how much you can see from the environment. And you could actually see from, like, if you're in high mountain all the way up, you could see Halls of Valor, you could see Dalaran, you could see Azuna, or whatever it's called, Iowa Vajara area. Like, you could see pretty much everything. That's how much I want to see on the water, for sure.
Especially when we're talking about PvP. There was a sonar/radar type upgrade in Arcade that allowed you to detect ships from a longer distance by pinging them on your map. However, it's just not how I envision ocean encounters to go. I think when you want to participate in ocean gameplay, you need to see your targets as far back as the horizon.
I also hope it's not purely PvP. like someone said Kraken in the comments, stuff like that. Whatever. But it's like, I actually want other NPCs to also attack you with their ships, so you can like, even if there's like no one to PvP with, you can still get your practice and stuff like that with mobs and shit.
Gives the world a huge sense of scale and much more meaning to the size of the overall map. And a game that does this extremely well is, of course, Sea of Thieves.
Okay,
Technology
there we
has
go.
advanced incredibly since Arcade in 2012, especially with Unreal Engine 5. And I think seeing other player ships or sea monsters and quote-unquote content on the horizon is a core component to making the ocean not feel like shit. I think if limitation...
I'm not gonna lie. There's no way in hell when you are like whatever controlling a ship, your face is this close to the fucking, I don't know what's called, ham or whatever, to the wheel that spins it. Like, you're not standing like this spinning it. You're here. Why is he so fucking zoomed in? You can't see anything.
Must be set on draw distance for...
It's like you should be able to see approximately 150 degrees. Technically you can see peripheral vision like about 180 degrees, but like actually really see about 150 degrees. This guy barely sees 60 degrees in front of him because he's like zoomed in like a fucking horse. I don't know why it's so zoomed in.
Obvious reasons,
That's
the
so
ocean itself
unintuitive.
should be an exception to this rule.
It's
I
great
think
that he can
Intrepid
move his
should
head,
look
but
into
like, what the
changing
fuck?
the native draw distance that gameplay has and increasing it significantly when your character transitions onto the oceans of Vera. Remember, Stephen explicitly said the game will give you a warning when you make this transition, and because the gameplay rules also change during this transition, I think it's pretty reasonable to expect something like a draw distance change as well. But there's another thing that they need to get right. I enjoy Arc Age and Black Desert Online for very different reasons. Both of their oceans had pretty much the opposite problems. BDO's boat mechanics were very static and disconnected, like you became the boat and you controlled it completely as a singular entity.
Oh, that's
Not
weird.
how I envision pirate gameplay.
Yeah,
A ship
that's very
should be
weird.
manned by multiple people, and your crew's teamwork should be the defining factor that decides victory.
You are
However,
the
that
ship.
disconnect allows Pearl Abyss, the creators of BDO, in case you're living under a rock, to make the ocean itself feel amazing. The cannons, the water, the ambience, the sound, it was all top notch, and I could immerse myself completely into that pirate fantasy. These aesthetics are missing entirely.
Is he trying to run over the whale or some shit? Why does he keep going in circles around the whale?
In Arcade, the cannons are bona fide pea shooters, the water has no ocean to it, and the
Yeah.
visceral impact from ship-on-ship PvP was pretty much non-existent. I think Intrepid can hit that sweet spot of aesthetic perfection, limitless adventure, and visceral combat by combining the best features from Black Desert Online, Arcade, and Sea of Thieves. But what does this mean for the dynamic
Wait, what are the good aspects of Arcade though? So far he's just said the Arcade sucked ass.
of the actual game? Making the ocean itself an open PvP zone is a pretty risky thing to do for a game that is already being called a gank box. However, I want to take the next segment to discuss this change in detail.
Toxicity
But
on the
Narc,
ocean.
you bald giga chad with a sexy beard and bulging biceps. This change is just gonna make the ocean unbearable, and griefers are gonna have a feel.
Sexy beard, sure, whatever, like to each his own. But bulging biceps, brother? Come on, man. Come on, let's be real.
Well, yes, from face
Bulging
value, it does
biceps.
seem that way. A popular comment that keeps popping up goes something like this. Ugh. I'm not a fan of the corruptionless open sea. It's going to push away Care Bears even more, and I don't think it makes Ashes better. The ocean probably already was the best place to PK before this development update. Now, it became even better. And I don't agree with this at all. But if you do agree with this fine gentlemen, allow me to change your perspective a little by putting some emphasis on one of Ashes of Creation's core gameplay philosophies.
Where's
risk
that,
versus reward.
Where's that Leo DiCaprio? Whoa, what was that? The Leo DiCaprio meme? Where's it? Whoa, wait a second. What did you try to say there?
reward. You see, in order to give certain types of materials value, a risk must be taken. And risk assessment is generally given a price set by the devs. It is them who determines the distance traveled bonus, and I am 100% certain taking trade pack materials across the ocean will incur a significantly higher price multiplier. But all this is using the assumption that their crate mechanic functions in a similar way to arcade trade packs. It's not confirmed, of course, just another baseless assumption whilst we wait another 10 months for them to give us another crumb of information during live streams. And risk is, in my opinion, 100% necessary for
the life of the Ashes enthusiast. That's the life. Just wait for one more update with a tiny bit of like information crumbs.
Economy to feel alive. But does this change fester toxicity? Does it make the ocean so scary that these so-called Care Bears are too afraid to participate in such a thing? Well, actually, no. I think it does the complete opposite, so let's discuss this. The ocean being a free PvP zone is something that I'd like to call a double-edged PvP. People are now always at risk, which ultimately helps against potential toxic gameplay by creating an environment that PvP is agreed upon from the moment two ships are within range. You enter the ocean expecting PvP rather than hoping someone isn't going to attack you due to them gaining corruption. Ultimately, griefers will always grief regardless of this change. What this does is prevent that toxic loop of enemy ships getting a mobility advantage over you before actually revealing their hostile intent. And I think this change is bringing back the exact thing Ashes of Creation is trying to bring back to this sorry corpse of a genre: social gameplay. Actually encouraging players to team up and work together to stop people trying to play massively multiplayer online role-playing games like bloody single-player games. That's not what an MMO excels at. And that brings us on to the final topic of today: the sense of adventure and discovery, searching for treasure and becoming the thing we always dreamed of as a kid, to gain fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. And before you get hung from the gallows, your final words shall be said. My fortune is yours for the taking, but you'll have to find it first. I left everything I own in one piece. And
he should have just played the Japanese version. Like the English version just is so not impactful.
From that moment,
the great age of pirates
set sail onto the deep ocean, searching for one piece, the treasure that would make their dreams come true.
Oh God.
I think the goal of this whole map change in general is to make the world feel big enough and well-oiled enough that these Care Bears won't need to participate in the lawless ocean. It will become a black zone for them where they will either be too scared to venture out, which subconsciously creates that sense of wonder, or they will feel a rush of adrenaline when they eventually muster the courage to venture forth.
Here's the question though. Would there be an option to travel from continent to continent or island to island without participating in the ship stuff? Like, what if I just wanna, chill, go from zone to zone, explore, before I want to participate in PvP? Will I be able to?
During this venture, the kinds of content available in the ocean should be plentiful. There should be a wide variety of content. Just PvP, just a world boss or two, just fishing, it's not enough for me. My worst nightmare would be for them to have these amazing boat mechanics, super visceral combat, and incredible aesthetics to match, but there's just no reason to actually go out. I think Sea of Thieves did a fantastic job with this. It used a very interesting mechanics where the skies would light up, indicating content in that direction, and it just prevented that ocean from feeling empty. At no point does Sea of Thieves feel like a large, empty expanse used as arbitrary travel distance. That expanse should be filled with content that appeals to players who want to be there in the first place, like treasure hunts or following a map, a gameplay loop that creates a leaderboard for pirating players. recording things like who has the most treasure, who's plundered the most, who's destroyed more fleets. The ocean is going to be a highly competitive space, and I want to implore Intrepid to encourage this kind of gameplay. Let the players who want to be there thrive in that environment with competition. That's what being a pirate is all about, after all. And there's so many ways to do this. I could speculate for hours on interesting mechanics. However, I want to save a pure speculation video for another time, using your comments. So, allow me to end today's video with a question for you, my dear viewer. What kind of gameplay do you want to see out on the oceans of Vera? Do you enjoy this open flagging system, or do you think corruption should still play a role out at sea? I gave you my thoughts on the corruption business, but when it comes to the content out there, I don't think you can rely on just PvP to make an ocean interesting. There must be compelling and interesting objectives out there for people to chase, to give people a reason to want to stop at an island with their crates, giving players interesting points of interest that would make them reconsider speedrunning through this zone, encourage risk on top of the risk that they're already doing. Otherwise, the ocean will end up being seen as one of those dead spaces that nobody ventures through, pretty much like they do in Arcade and Black Desert Online. But as usual, I am just one nerd desperate for a good MMO, and my opinions mean nothing without yours in the comments below.
What kind of con would I want to see on the sea, man? What kind of tech are we dealing with, though? Like, do we have motors? Do we have... What I would like to see, honestly, added on top of just, like, your standard pirating thing, would be to be able to climb up to the top of your ship and glide onto enemy ships from there. I think that would be cool. As well as like hooks and stuff like that, like attach your ship to the enemy ship so they can't really run away unless they manage to like cut all the hooks or something like that. That would be cool, I guess. But as far as the gameplay goes, I mean, it's cannons and rifles and shit like that, right?
And hey, are you bored? Do you just not enjoy MMORPGs right now? Well, why not come join our Discord, as we've grown so much lately that we have multiple active chat channels going on at once, talking about the history of MMOs, what makes MMOs great, and most importantly, speculation on systems.
Honestly, I would say what makes MMOs great, and pretty sure you can't really argue with this, but I mean, you can argue with anything, right? What makes MMOs great is that you can put years of character development into your character, and that's usually what also keeps you there. Like your attachment to the character. No other game offers you an attachment to your character throughout years of content. That's pretty much it. Or to the world, basically. It's like, do you care about your character in Warzone? Do you care about your character in games like what's called Lost Ark? Sorry, not Lost Ark. Path of Exile. Like, do you really care about them? It's like new season comes and you forget about your character. Do you care about them in Diablo 3? Do you care in any shooter? Do you care about your character? No. In any ARPG, do you really care about your character? No. Like, you really care about them in RPG, but single player RPGs end very fast. It's like 80 to 120 hours usually. You finish the RPG and it's like, how much you care about your character? Not that much, right? But in MMORPG, it's throughout the years you put an effort into your character. You put, like, you have a massive story around it. It's been with you since, let's say, vanilla World of Warcraft all the way to currently Shadowlands. And it's like you have so many years with that the one character, maybe two characters, maybe three characters. But I feel like that's something only MMORPG can offer. But anyways, that's my thoughts as far as the video goes. Cool video. Good to know that they're gonna have sea combat. I hope it's not just like you're out at sea or PvP. I hope there's like a way to kind of like opt out or just be like, yeah, listen, like I gotta go. You know, it's like you went to sea and you're like, something came up and you have to leave. Like, you gotta go, you know. Anyways, that's the video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.